Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Corpus Christi. My name is Kirk Newport, and I'm pleased to be your worship associate this morning. If this is the first time you've been with us, or if you've been with us for years, both here or in line, we unconditionally welcome you as your full, authentic self. Oh, okay. We're excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning. We welcome all faiths and no faiths. In particular, we welcome you as you are and whoever you love and wherever you are on your journey. Our gathering together during this time has intention and purpose. This space at this time is holy and sacred. Although we may sometimes fall short of our ideals, we come together with the intention to grow as spiritual and moral beings. To that end, we recite a covenant each week, which is not a creed, but a promise we make to one another. We live within our values, interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice, with love at the center. I have a few announcements this morning, and I'll save you for last. This afternoon, from 2 to 4 o'clock, the local Baha'i community is hosting an International Day of Peace. It's at the Cliff House, which is, most of you, if you don't know where it is, I'll let you, it's sort of near downtown. Anyway, it's 2 to 4 today, this afternoon. Meditation this week will be on Wednesday from 6 to 7. We're usually on the first and third Wednesdays of this month. Also, we're trying to put together a rummage sale within the next month or so. We're not exactly sure what the date will be. There's some discussion, there's pros and cons of having it on different days. I would like, if anyone would like to help plan or help run it or help in any way, shape, or form, come talk with me after the service. I'm just trying to gather a handful of people so we can kind of figure out when that's going to be. And lastly, but not least, I'm going to invite Ren up.
Good morning. My name is Ren Aldrich, and I am coordinating your pumpkin patch this year. Pumpkin delivery, October 11th at 3 p.m. We need as many people as we can get. Bring your wheelbarrows, your carts, whatever you have to carry pumpkins. I think we're good on trucks, but if you have a pickup truck and you want to bring it, we might use it, we might not. The link to sign up is in the WhatsApp chat. If you need to join the WhatsApp chat, there's a QR code in the hallway, or you can come see me or Nick, and we'll get you in there. The shifts are 3 hours, 7 days a week from 10 to 7. If you've never done it before, that's okay. It's really, really not hard, and I will train you. Join the WhatsApp. There's also there's a QR code in the hallway to scan to join the WhatsApp, and I also printed some flyers for the general public. They're out in the foyer. If you know of any public bulletin boards where you work, where you go regularly, take some, hang them up around town. If you need like a bunch, let me know. I can print as many as you need. I just don't want to print too many. And that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
It is our custom in this church to offer visitors and newcomers a chance to introduce themselves if they feel comfortable doing so. If it's your first time here or just feel ready to say hello after coming for a while, we'd like to invite you to stand as you're able or raise your hand and tell us your name, where you're from, and we'll bring a microphone to you so you don't have to go anywhere. Would anyone like to just introduce themselves today? That's okay. You're all welcome, and we also want to welcome everyone who's watching online. Also, I'd like to invite you to stay after the service today for some coffee and conversation. And our service will now begin. Our opening words today are these. It has been said that church is a place where you get to practice what it means to be human. So it might be wise to consider the following. We humans are social beings. We come into the world as a result of others' actions. We survive here in dependence on others. Whether we like it or not, there is hardly a moment of our lives when we do not benefit from others' activities. For this reason, it is hardly surprising that most of our happiness arises in the context of our relationships with others. I would like to invite Zaid up to come light our chalice. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us, appreciation of our shared hopes and values. And I would like you to stand as you are willing and able for the affirmation of our covenant. Please be seated. And I'd like to invite Tess up for the story for all ages.
Good morning. I'm Tess Cherry, your religious exploration coordinator here at U2C3. And today's story is The Hugging Tree, a story about resilience by Jill Niemark. On a bleak and lonely rock by a vast and mighty sea grew a lonely little tree where no tree should ever be. How she got there, no one knew. She sprouted stems and little leaves, as any tiny seed will do. There's hardly any dirt for me, no forest breeze, no birds, no bees, but I will do the best I can to make this rock my home. Her tiny roots pushed night and day, and bit by bit, the rock gave way. A smidge, an inch, a foot, then two, she grew and grew, and grew and grew. The ocean hugged the rocky shore. I like you near me, little tree. Let's keep each other company. Soft gold beams, sunbeams kissed her crown, warm and honey pouring down. At night, she raised her branches high to greet the moon in the sky. I wax and wane, I ebb and flow. I cycle through from full to thin. And when I'm done, I start again. That's how life is, you know. One summer noon, a pair of loons landed on her canopy. A pretty tree, a sparkling sea, shall we make this place our home and raise our baby chicks right here? The little tree warmed up with pride. She spread her branches high and wide. I'll be your home, she replied, and you can call and tell me if you've seen the forest where my family grew. We've built our nest in trees like you, quite far from here. And so you blew many nights and many days. You flew on the wind, just like we do. They built their nests and laid their eggs, and soon 2 baby chicks were born. Summer passed, autumn too. The little tree turned red and gold. Then winter came with howling winds and cutting cold that broke her bough. The loons flew south, the sea all ice, the rock all snow, the moon was lost in thunderclouds. Mighty cliff, hold me tight, don't let me blow away. Little tree, with all my might, I'll hold you close day and night. Storms will come and storms will go. At last the sun melted the snow, but now the tree could not grow. The storm had torn her roots. The moon gazed down and softly said, sometimes we lose our way, but with some help we start again. That's how life is, you know. And soon a boy came running by, skipping stones into the sea. When he saw the little tree, he stopped and stared. He touched the little tiny leaves. He felt the ragged roots. He shook his head and said, I can bring just what you need. I can help you, little tree. A tree can't hug a boy. It has no hands or arms, but it can hug you with its heart, and that is just as deep and warm. Every day the boy came back carrying a full backpack. From the pack he took a tin and poured out rich brown earth. He packed the roots and tucked them in. He planted flowers around the tree, made a path for all to see. Now everyone will know that even on a granite cliff, a little tree can grow. And then he went to sleep and dreamed the things the boys dream of. Now every day new people stop to rest beneath the little tree and dream the things we all dream of. To love, to share, to give, to dare, to grow just where we are. And to this very day they come. For a splendid sunny rock by a warm and bright blue sea, a great big hugging tree grows just where she was meant to be. The end. I would like to invite the young and young at heart to join me in RE.
After our meditation reading and time of silence, and when the music begins, All who would like are invited to come up to the chalice table and light a candle representing a joy or sorrow you may be holding in your heart today. Please come up one at a time using the middle aisle. And keep in mind, the further candles are placed in the sand, the less risk to the next person behind you. If you are online with us today, we welcome you to share your joys or sorrows in the chat feature. Here's the meditation readings by Cedric Wright. I just looked him up very briefly. He was a violinist, ghost string players, and he was a naturalist, and he was a good friends with Ansel Adams, the famous photographer, outdoor photographer. Consider the life of trees. Aside from the axe, what trees acquire from humans is inconsiderable. What we may acquire from trees is immeasurable. From their mute forms flows a poise, a silence, a lovely sound in motion in response to wind. What peace comes to those aware of the voice and bearing of trees? Trees do not scream for attention. A tree, a rock, has no pretense, only a real growth out of itself. In close communion with the universal spirit, a tree retains a deep serenity. It establishes the earth not only its root system, but also those roots of its beauty and its unknown consciousness. Sometimes one may sense of glistening of that consciousness. And with such perspective, feel that humans are not necessarily the highest form of life. We'll observe 3 minutes of silence. Harry? John Williams, Harry Potter? Our speaker today is Vaughn Westheimer. Vaughn is a member of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Corpus Christi. He is a mostly, but not completely, retired attorney, as well as a poet and a short story writer. Vaughn and his wife Amelia are parents to 4 or maybe 5 cats. Please welcome Vaughn.
Good morning. And on this good morning, I'll ask you to look around the room. Look where Amelia is standing at the stained glass there, tree. Look where Christine is standing, tree. And then, as you look on either side of the pulpit, trees. And as you go to the chalice table, look at that, more trees. And what is the chalice itself but a tree that burns, yet is not consumed? Thank you, Vannas. Y'all may be seated. It's appropriate because these trees fit so well with the Unitarian Universalist forest. I'll be relating stories today, religious and secular, about trees. I'll also throw in some tree facts. I could spend the whole time talking about amazing tree facts, such as their communication with each other and with other life forms, how they serve human need by removing carbon from the atmosphere and reduce global temperature, how they provide a habitat for wildlife. But my focus today will be on tree stories and how they show the Unitarian Universalism of trees. You know what the most frequently used noun in the English language is? Starts with a T, ends with an E, and it has 4 letters. And if you're thinking there's no way that tree is the most used noun in the English language, you're right. It's time. And I'm going to take you back in time to near the beginning of time, at least according to the story presented in the book of Genesis, and specifically to the Garden of Eden. Now, this is my first PowerPoint thing, so I hope I forgot that I had this here. Okay. Uh-oh. Nick? Uh-oh, okay. Well, I could still go ahead and talk. You're familiar with the story, but maybe not the details. So God created Adam and put him in Eden. Then, and I quote, "From the ground the Lord God caused to grow every tree that was pleasing to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the middle and the tree of knowledge of good and bad." God instructed Adam that he could eat from every tree except the tree of knowledge. If Adam ate from that tree, God said, then as soon as he did, he would die. So, I guess we're still here. It was after that God created Eve. Either Adam or God, it's not clear, had told Eve that God said she would die if she eats from the tree of knowledge or even touches the fruit. The serpent told her that's not true. She would not die eating the fruit. God just said that so she and Adam would not be like divine beings with knowledge of good and bad. So having learned from the serpent that the fruit was good for eating and desirable as a source of wisdom, Eve ate the fruit and lived, and Adam ate the fruit and lived. When God found out that Adam and Eve had eaten the forbidden fruit, often depicted as an apple, but never described that way in Genesis, God said that now that man was like one of us, that's in quotes, one of us, by knowing good and bad, they might eat from the tree of life and live forever. And God did not want that to happen. So God banished Adam and Eve from Eden. There were hardships imposed on Adam and Eve for eating the forbidden fruit, but that was not why they were banished from Eden. They were sent east of Eden because God was afraid they might otherwise eat from the tree of life. The result of eating the forbidden fruit was that Adam and Eve finally realized they were naked. It was after that, in the next chapter of Genesis, that Adam knew Eve in the biblical sense, as they say, and Cain was born. In fact, it was only after God announced banishment from Eden that Adam gave Eve her name, which means mother of all living. The eating of the forbidden fruit gave rise to the propagation of the human race. According to Bill Moyers, some traditions say that Eve and the snake were the bringers of culture into the world. If Adam and Eve had not eaten the fruit and noticed that they were naked, would there be no new generations? How little wisdom or curiosity would Adam and Eve and their descendants, if any, have had if they had not eaten that fruit? They clearly gained more knowledge than just good and bad. Another thing, it doesn't say that Adam and Eve were having a great time in Eden. Sure, they had fruit trees, all they could eat, but they didn't have any purpose in their lives and didn't have any real freedom. It seems like it was a benefit that Adam and Eve were sent out into the world, equipped with the ability to quest for truth and seek knowledge and freedom like Unitarian Universalists. Now, for a tree fact. Trees both absorb and emit carbon dioxide, but there's a net removal of carbon dioxide of 8.4 billion tons per year. Part of the cause of the emissions of carbon dioxide is the human activity of cutting trees down. At our house when I was a kid, we had fig trees. This is a photo of my niece as she looked about half a century ago, picking figs from one of the trees. We could eat them right off the tree or in the form of preserves, which my mother made. Even though I enjoyed the figs both ways, I didn't achieve enlightenment from being around fig trees, but someone did. About 2,500 years ago, Siddhartha Gautama sat continuously for 7 weeks, or possibly 3 weeks, according to some sources, under a fig tree, meditating and achieving enlightenment. The tree became known as the Bodhi tree, and Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha. There are now other sacred fig trees at Buddhist sites in the world. To quote Hermann Hesse, the author of the novel Siddhartha, trees are sanctuaries. Whoever knows how to speak to them, whoever knows how to listen to them, can learn the truth. The tree was there in Buddha's search for truth, and of course, the search for truth is the sacrament of this church. Here's another tree fact. Trees communicate with each other to warn of danger, and they can send nutrients to other trees in need. And the recipients will return the favor to the original donor when that tree has a future need. In this way, they dwell together in peace as part of the interdependent web. Let's move ahead in time to 1666, to a garden in Lincolnshire. It was no secret at that time that things fell downward, but on a fateful day in 1666, Isaac Newton was inspired when an apple fell from a tree. The contemporary accounts of it do not say it fell on his head, but he did see the apple fall. And it led him to wonder why things fall to the earth, and could the same force influence the movement of heavenly bodies? An apple tree aided Newton in seeking knowledge in his quest for truth, parts of our covenant. Another tree fact, at least 44 countries have an Arbor Day. In this country, it's the last Friday in April. Several states also have their own Arbor Day, which in Texas is the final Friday in November. Moving forward in time from the days of Lincoln, we come to the early 1800s. It was then that one John Chapman began planting apple nurseries. While apple trees were commonly planted using grafts from existing apple trees, Chapman opposed grafting for religious reasons, believing that taking a graft caused the donor tree to suffer. So he planted trees from seeds and became known as Johnny Appleseed. Now, as it happens, apples grown from seeds are almost always bad for eating. Henry David Thoreau said, "They were sour enough to set a squirrel's teeth on edge and make a jay scream." But that does not mean the apples were worthless. Johnny Appleseed wasn't growing apples for eating, but rather for drinking, specifically for hard cider. Out on the frontier, they liked their alcohol. Ohioans drank an average of 30 gallons of hard cider a year. Johnny was said to be welcome in every cabin in Ohio and Indiana for bringing the gift of alcohol to the frontier. That is how Johnny Appleseed served human need, courtesy of the apple trees. As to whether his serving human need with hard cider caused the Midwestern souls to grow into harmony with the divine, that probably depended on the particular Midwesterner. Tree fact. How many trees are on the property of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Corpus Christi? I was going to count them, but heat and mosquitoes kept me from getting an accurate total. But I think it's safe to say there are approaching 100 trees on church property. They are part of the approximately 3 trillion trees estimated to be on Earth. Speaking of Henry David Thoreau, he, not surprisingly, had admiration for trees. He wrote of pine groves rippling with light so soft and green and shady that the Druids would have forsaken their oaks to worship them. I'll say more about Druids later. He wrote of cedars fit to stand before Valhalla. He wrote about a grove that he said is supposed by some to have been planted by pigeons, which had been baited with beech nuts. And he mentions other trees that he would visit as shrines, such as a particular hemlock standing like a pagoda in the midst of the woods. And indeed, trees have been made into shrines by others as well as I will talk about now. I'm going to show you a picture of a forest. It's Forrest Gump. But there's also a tree in this photo. The tree had special meaning to Forrest and his wife, Jenny, and when she died, she was buried there. It's a symbol of love and a shrine to Jenny. A friend of mine started the South Texas Peace Tree Project. We would plant a tree in memory of fallen military service members from this part of Texas. Sadly, there were several occasions when we had another tree to plant. Friends, family, and other people who cared would gather for the tree planting ceremony. The tree planting was a symbol of love, and love is the doctrine of this church. Francois René Chateaubriand said, "Forests were the first temples of the divinity, and it is in the forest that men have grasped the first idea of architecture." And Sabrina Elkins said, "Forests are like churches, hallowed places. There's a stillness about them, a sort of reverence." Here's a picture. We may soon see a picture of the Cathedral of the Pines in New Hampshire. The people who owned the land decided to dedicate it as the Cathedral of the Pines after one of their sons was killed in action in World War II. It's an open-air, non-denominational sanctuary. The statement of purpose refers to the importance of the essential role that preserving and respecting the environment plays in our lives, and the value that a peaceful venue can contribute to our solace and refresh our spirit. They say, "We welcome all to participate in our events, explore the extraordinary grounds, meditate in a choice of multiple outdoor venues, chapels and gardens." I was there years ago. It's a place where people can dwell together in peace. It's a place that fits with the 7th principle of Unitarian Universalism, respect for the interdependent web. There it is. Interdependent web of all existence with which we are a part. And in saying all are welcome, it fits with the first principle, which recognizes the inherent worth and dignity of every person. All are welcome. The structure in the photo is not an enclosed building. It's a better view of it. It's the Women's Memorial Bell Tower devoted to American women, both civilian and military. In that tower, there's a tree of life sculpture with 12 kinds of fruit depicted, making reference to the book of Revelation, chapter 22, the last chapter of the New Testament, which states, "On each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of nations." Let me repeat that last part. The leaves of the tree are for the healing of nations, not just our side, but for everyone. So we have the tree of life in the 2nd and 3rd chapters of Genesis, the first book of the Jewish scriptures, and in the last chapter of the New Testament. Trees play an important role in Mayan religion and culture. Their most sacred tree is the ceiba, which they refer to as the tree of life. The Milton Keynes Tree Cathedral, pictured here, is located in England. The concept behind the Tree Cathedral is to create a space that evokes a sense of spirituality and contemplation, and to provide a place of solace and peace for visitors. It's described as a harmonious and meditative space where visitors can reflect and connect with nature. Sounds a lot like Cathedral of the Pines. Nearby is the Milton Keynes Peace Pagoda. Now, there was a group of monks and nuns from, and I'm not sure how to say, but Nippon-san Mayahoji spiritual movement that promotes pacifism. And they sent 1,000 cherry trees that were donated from Japan. Unfortunately, that variety of cherry tree was not suitable for the environment, so they are planning the National Park Service, and I believe it's called, or national, but the service in England anyway is planting trees, other cherry trees that they hope will be able to thrive there. Here's another site, this one also in England, Whipsnade Tree Cathedral. A man had trees planted to form a cathedral of trees in memory of friends of his who served with him in World War I. It was created in the spirit of faith, hope, and reconciliation. Not revenge, not dominance, but reconciliation. That fits so well with UU principles. There's the first principle again, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every person, even if you just had a war with them. And it demonstrates the sixth principle, which is the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, as well as the second principle, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Closer to home, this is the Japanese Garden of Peace in Fredericksburg, Texas. It was a gift from the people of Japan to the people of the United States, a part of the National Museum of the Pacific War. And who was the United States fighting in the Pacific War? Japan. But this tree-filled space was given with prayers for everlasting world peace through the goodwill of our two nations. Notice that two of these places came about due to the death of service members, but neither is called a war memorial. Another followed a war between the nation that was the giver of the garden and the one that was the recipient. All of them are dedicated to peace. With the South Texas Peace Tree Project, we gathered together in peace. And the Cathedral of the Pines, the Milton Keynes Tree Cathedral, the Whipsnade Tree Cathedral, and the Japanese Garden of Peace are all tree-filled places where people dwell together in peace. And of course, the olive branch from the olive tree is a symbol of peace. Not surprisingly, trees are important in the pagan world. There are many pagan societies with their own traditions and beliefs, but generally speaking, nature is important in the pagan world. I'll talk just about a couple of things. The word druid means tree knowledge. Druids consider themselves to have descended from trees, men coming from the alder and women from the rowan. The Druids of Ireland believed that many types of trees were sacred, such as oak, hazel, rowan, and yew. These trees were seen as symbols of wisdom, strength, and protection. The oak was especially revered as the symbol of high kingship and wisdom due to its connection with the goddess, well, I'm skipping here, and associated with the sun god. The Tlingit, indigenous people in Alaska and Western Canada, tell how Raven made human beings from leaves. And Carl Sagan said, "This oak tree and me, we're made of the same stuff. So maybe there really is a baby tree." The third principle of Unitarian Universalism is acceptance of one another and encouragement of spiritual growth in our congregations. Commenting on that, Reverend Rob Haydas of All Souls Church Unitarian in Washington, D.C. said, "Instead of fight or flight, we need a spiritual posture of embrace." At the South Texas Peace Tree Project, we would have an abrazo, a group embrace. There's a term for people who have a love of nature, tree hugger. Some people use that term in a mocking way, but I say we should all embrace it, pun possibly intended. We should celebrate trees from giants like the redwoods and sequoias to the little ones that make their own contribution to the seventh principle, the interdependent web of all existence. There's something about trees that instills feelings of peace within us. When you leave today, I hope you will look at the trees and see the majesty in them, whether great or small, and feel free to hug one alone. And incidentally, I'm not making this up, that's the Scottish tree-hugging champion. They actually have a tree-hugging champion in Scotland. Or with friends, or even with your cat. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaughn. That's fun. Now is the time we participate in the care of our church community by giving and receiving the offering. If you are contributing to your pledge today, be sure to write pledge on your check or cash envelope. When the music begins, the ushers will present the offering basket to you, and all you have to do is drop your offering in. No passing is required. In addition to the basket, and for those joining us at home, you can make your sundry offering via PayPal or using the Vanco mobile app. Your offering, no matter how you make it, will be gratefully received. We will now proceed with the collection of the offering.
Taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. I said, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Oh no, they paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
We have basked in the warmth and beauty of this flame and this community. As the chalice is extinguished, let us carry its glow within. Let us kindle new sparks within these walls and beyond. Go in peace.
Night I heard the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. I said, don't